Everybody, and welcome to Resolve the Unsolved Forum by Panacea eBiz Consulting Group. As businesses are slowly getting back and trying to be normal, coming out of the serious pandemic scenario, though the situation has not completely subsided, there has been discussions among the business fraternity about opportunities. In fact, while discussing with a couple of our clients and one or two business groups, we decided to have a discussion around franchising opportunities and challenges. That is what brings us to our topic today on franchising opportunities and challenges. Post COVID, it is expected the opportunities are going to change the future, no doubt. It is not about trying to forcefully say things will happen, but businesses have to open up, things have to move back to normal and move beyond. And business models are now adapting to the new normal. So, this is a great time to look at different ways, not of innovating, but to expand and get into new business propositions. Currently, the pandemic has brought many changes across all industries, franchising notwithstanding. People have been displaced, projects have been put on hold, and in some cases, business owners have had to rethink how they're going to operate their business post the pandemic scenarios. As contrary as it may seem, now is the ideal time for potential franchise or franchises to be considered as a business proposition. It is an important time where businesses can look for franchising as a way of expansion into the market. At the same time, as we were just chatting, there are opportunities where individual entrepreneurs, small or large business people are also looking at existing brands or established brands and processes on which they can or in which they can invest and which can help them start getting into rolling of the operations as soon as possible. That is what brings us to this topic of franchising today. We would be discussing extensively about franchising as a process and obviously what is required, because franchising most of the time, which we have seen, has been not properly understood. Businesses which we have been consulting in the last couple of years have taken shortcuts into it. So we will cover all those areas and also move on to challenges. Today, with me, I have Mr. Goel. Mr. Ravinder Goel, welcome to the session.
Oh,
Mr. Goel himself has spent 25 plus years exclusively into franchising as a way of expanding businesses, not only of his own business propositions, but beyond that has been consulting and advising into network expansions using the franchise base and have been deeply involved into developing franchise processes over the last couple of years. So both of us have been part of the franchising world. I have been also spending intricately involved in the franchise operations for last 20 plus years into both service sectors and retail sectors. And today, both of us have been involved into strategically advising companies into expansion and increasing their channel operations. To start off with, I would request Mr. Goel to introduce us to the proposition. And as we go across, people are welcome to raise queries on the chat in case there is some areas which they want to clarify or discuss on during the session. I hope Mr. Goel, you would be comfortable clarifying those doubts as we go on.
yeah, that's very true.
Okay.
It will make things more interactive.
Interactive, that will be great.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Goel, I would request you to start off the process and take us through the understanding and what are the criticalities of a franchise requirement. Please.
Thank you, Sandeep. I welcome everyone at this our Resolve the Unsolved forum. Today, we are going to discuss about franchising opportunity and challenges. Uh, Probably we all have come across many outlets, many brands, which probably are franchised, and the business has been you feel the similar uniform experience across. So franchising, probably today the session will be covering about with respect to a franchisor point of view more, and if we have some queries coming in on the franchisee aspect of it, probably we'll take that. So I'll start my session with my the screen sharing. So today it is our 34th webinar, and it has been going on due to COVID. We could not have 3 weeks webinars, but yes, for last 3 weeks we are continuing now, and hope as world is opening up, we'll be continuing it with more and more good topics. So the first point is, what is franchise? So when we talk about a franchise or franchising, it's a method of distributing products or services involving a franchisor, the person who owns the brand, who establishes the brand trademark or trade name and a business system, and a franchisee is who pays a royalty and often an initial fees for the right to do business under the franchisor's name and system. Now, this is what basically the franchisee and franchisor and franchisee. Franchise is a system, ecosystem if we talk about. So the two components are franchisor and the franchisee. Franchisor who gives and franchisee who takes. So if we move further, like we must have heard these names. If you take like in India top 20, I could write it down. Like Patanjali is a franchisee model, Domino's is a franchisee model, Archie, PMKY is an education franchisee model of NSDC, Dr. Batraj Clinics, KFC, First Cry, Lenskart, Lakme, Amul, Jockey, Kidji, Cafe Coffee Day, DTDC, Pizza Hut, Green Trends, Javed Habib, Baskin Robbins, Subway, Bikaner Wala, Khadim's Friends. So you see, most of the businesses happening in now in the new economy era is based out of franchising. And why franchising attracts the manufacturers or the brand owners? There are advantages along with it, and we must have seen like these are few logos. Probably you might be thinking that what all kind of businesses can be franchised. Like if you look at Liberty, the shoe store, they have a franchise model. Raymond's garment store, they have a franchise model. Urban stores, Louis Phillips, Kurlon, the mattress company, the Godrej Interior, like the furniture home basic equipments company, Funds and Pedal. I mean, everything and anything can be franchised. Only thing that if you are prepared for it. Like Biva is a ladies brand. This also has a franchisee network. If we move further, like Pizza Hut or Wendy's, McDonald's is one of the most popular franchisee concept. KFC, Subway, Dunkin' Donuts, Burger King. So if you see, the Holiday Inn is also works under franchisee model. So in total, if you look at, if I say that if you have a product, it can be franchised out. Only thing is that you have to align your business model. You have to deal out with many issues initially before you start out the franchising. And today we'll be focusing on all those areas in brief. People do confuse between franchising and the retail businesses, but there is a hell lot of difference in when we say the retail outlets and when we talk about a franchise outlet. In the franchisee section, we see that exclusive to product or principal only. When a product like Subway counter, when you go, they do not have a Pizza Hut pizza offering. Subway franchisee will have exclusive Subway products. Have to follow the decor and branding of the outlet. Like you go to Bikaner Wala, you go to Pizza Hut, you go to Domino's, you go to any chain, you'll find the look and feel, offering, the dress, cap, everything, the branding, everything you'll feel the same. Franchisee fees is charged. The person who owns the franchisee, he pays a fees and then he is allowed to open up. Price is determined by the franchisor, not by the franchisee. A fixed commission or royalty is charged. So this is some basic concept, basic modeling of a franchise outlet. When we talk about distribution and retailing, It is multi-branded outlet stores, basically, we can call them. They can sell anything and everything. No such compulsion exists in retailing that whether they can operate with other brand or not. No such requirement in retail, but stock investment may be required. There is no franchisee fees, but yes, they may have to stock the inventories, and the investment goes on to that. The franchisee has to sell at a fixed price determined by the franchisee and gets a fixed commission. A retailer has no such obligation. Retailer, like the MRP is defined, and based on MRP, whatever discount he's getting, he may offer discount, he may add some benefits, or whatever he feels, given the local scenario in mind, he can change the offerings. Whereas in franchising, it is not possible. Now, when we talk about as a franchisor, like if somebody wants to start franchising its product or the brand or the probably the concept, idea, anything. So these are the benefits which probably is luring the entrepreneurs basically. No investment at unit level. Because the investment at the unit level is done by the franchisee, so your capital requirement is less. Return on investment will be higher because every investment made by the franchisee will get you some royalty, and you have charged the franchisee fees initially already. So you get revenue more than the investments. Risk is reduced substantially. The capital investment you make, the lease you sign, and other investments on HR, the staffing, marketing, that all is taken care by the franchisee. So your risk for every unit is very less compared to the company-owned outlets. Your risk is very less. Limited contingent liability, no signing of lease, no financing. You don't have to increase your finance options. You don't have to sign lease. Everything is done by the franchisee. Can grow much faster without adding staff and overheads. You need to have a team who will manage the franchises, but not at every outlet. Probably one person can manage 7 to 10 or 20 outlets, depending upon the size of the outlet and the location. But ultimately, the unit is managed by the franchisee, and he appoints the staff, he takes care of the overheads. Reduced involvement in day to day management. Today, when you have an owner based franchisee, so everything is taken care by that owner of that particular unit. So you, even if you are managing 100 centers or 100 franchisees or 100 outlets, your operation is limited to managing them, fulfilling their requirements, not the operation of the single unit. So day-to-day involvement becomes very less. Reduced vicarious liability act of employees. Like today, we are open world. Anybody can come out and can do something. There are incidents. There are maybe some unfortunate incident happens. So that remains exclusive to the franchisee outlet. It does not come back to the franchisor, and it saves him from various liabilities of maybe taxation or from this labor laws or any site specific incidents or acts. So there are benefits when you franchise your operations, so you can grow much faster. Now, if you continue like quality control, like most of the people who are participating or probably who will hear this later, owner is better than a manager. I mean, it has been said since ages that if you own something, you will have interest which will be much larger than the manager who is an employee. Probably his dedication, sincerity, honesty cannot be questioned in today's time. But definitely, a person who has invested his money and he's looking that option as a career and a future for his children or for a family. So his interest to make that unit profitable will be very high. Unit performance franchise stores generally perform better than company-owned stores. In my experience, I've seen that like I had more than 680 centers across India in like almost 27 states. So wherever the franchisee used to be involved in day-to-day operations fully, those centers have outperformed not only the company-owned outlets, but the outlets which were being owned by people who were large, and they were managing their store through their management or through the employees. So anybody, whenever the owner is there, definitely the sales are bound to happen in a better way. Customer satisfaction will definitely be taken care. Employee satisfaction will be always high. and the services, maintenance, everything, marketing, everything will be taken care of the topmost priority. The franchising allows to grow presence and brand more quickly and effectively. Today, let's say if we say that, like if I take an example of education franchisee, one education franchisee used to cost around 20 to 30 lakh rupees, including the initial setup plus the running capital for 6 months to 1 year down the line. So if we had 680 centers and we would have gone for a company-owned outlets, it would have been a massive capital investment. But as we gone from the franchisee route, so these 680 centers were basically individual centers, and the capital came from the individual owners. Our job was to make our concept franchisable, to give them the adequate support, and like the team, one team probably can open up as many franchise outlets as long as you can support that growth. International expansion, when we talk about, so like when you are going out of country, so it becomes much easier, faster, and carries far less risk since a local partner becomes involved. Now today we take example of like McDonald. There was a master franchisee for Indian operations, like for north, for west, there were different north and south, I think. So when you have a local partner and you are expanding internationally, so uh, there are some legal issues of getting your brand registered in your name, or making your like the brand secure. But as you have master franchisee with the local person, he understands the government, he understands the government rules and regulations. He speak the local language. He know how to do the local business and how to interact with them. So it becomes much easier when you go through a international licensee route or master franchisee route. Uh, Probably we would like to have more discussion. So I'm just taking it faster. You can interrupt me wherever you want.
Right, no problem.
Now, what is required? Like today, when we used to do the franchising, I happens to come across many people who used to have a very solid outlet. When I say solid, that they were doing much better than any other franchising of anyone. But they were standalone units, owner-based units, where thinking of going beyond what they are doing was an impossible idea for them. Now, when I say impossible idea, it is because of that they were sort of manpower. They were like one-man army kind of setups where they do not believe in the middle management. Now, when you go for franchising, that means you are basically like a mother who is going to join a job after baby is around 1 year, and for to go to a job, she has to hand over the baby to a maid servant. So when you are giving it to the maid, you have to have some do's and don'ts applied, and those like you probably might want to leave your son or daughter in the crutch even. But the part is that you choose whom to give one. Before that, you take a call whether you are going to join a job or you are going to remain a mother at home. So once you taken a call that no, you have to go for a job, then probably you'll find out ways and means to have somebody to take care of your baby. So brand, I say that like the brand I used to franchise, I used to say it's my first baby, because you have emotions, you have invested time, you have invested your golden years of your life. So brand becomes a baby, and you can't really do injustice with that brand. And if you choose wrong partners, then definitely your brand will be in the wrong hands, and nobody would like to give the baby in the wrong hands, for sure. Sometimes the greed prevails to the franchisor, and in the name of they get so many franchisee fees is an incentive, royalty is an incentive. Sometimes the person is incentive. Sometimes like lot of things are there which can lure the franchisor to go for and negotiate for what is right for the brand, what is not right for the brand. So how do we define that? Yes, we are ready. So I'm just going to cover that part of it. Evaluate if your business is ready. Now, first of all, we need to look at is whether we are ready for franchising or not. Some people, let's say if we talk about a person who is making cakes. Now he has the recipe, and he's making it, and which probably he could not involve with his family members even. So for him, he has to look at whether he can franchise. Franchise means that you are sharing your expertise, you are sharing your business model, you are giving them the secret recipes or the way business has to be carried out. Everything is transferable then. You are going to give it to somebody else. So we need to look at the concept whether it is franchisable or not. Now, as initially I said that everything and anything can be franchised. So when I say consider your concept, that means your state of mind more rather than the concept. Because today, if you give us anything, we probably will find out ways to make it franchisable. But your state of mind, whether you would like to share and become open and transparent with the franchises across to make them successful. Check your
I think
financials.
Mr. Goel,
Yeah,
the area which you are discussing right now is very, very important. If we can re-emphasize more, as you rightly pointed out, any business, any opportunity can be franchised, no doubt about it. And what
right,
we have seen is RP is the business ready for franchising. And it is not about just giving out the name, because
hmm,
when a person invests in a franchisee, as you rightly mentioned, it is typically a transfer of a know-how.
right.
So has the company built that know-how? Is the process there? Is the system there? Is the investment in the brand exist? Because it is not just buying the name. Am I right?
Right, right. So
That is very, very important.
today, you take an example of like a CH shop. You can take example of hospitals. You can take example of hotels. You can take the example of resorts. Mahindra Resort is a good example. You see, it is only that your passion towards growth. I have seen many people who say that, yeah, franchisee, once we get into franchising, it will be a very high running around, going traveling, high traveling, meeting different people, and then getting into legal troubles, getting into brand issues. Lot of problems will arise. So it is your mind perception probably which will prevail on the first part. You have to mentally prepare. It's like again, I take an example of the parents, newlywed parents. They decide when they want to have kids now. Until unless they are ready, nothing can happen. So it's something like surgery. If doctor says you can continue with the tumor and no need of surgery, nobody would like to go for it. But if it is an emergency, then probably everybody goes for it. Here in the business, if you are happy with what you are doing, so thinking about expansion and growth remains very exclusive to the business owner.
Very true. That's very, very important.
And then comes the financial, like because it is less capital incentive. But if you look at broadly, to make things franchisable, you need to invest. You need to hire manpower. You need to advertise. You need to make legal documents. You need to advertise your brands in the particular region where you want to appoint centers. If it is an international franchise you are looking at, you might have to travel frequently to that country. You have to participate in exhibitions. So financials will involve definitely till the time you start rolling out your franchisee operation. A good amount of investment based on your expectation will definitely be there. And if you do not have that investment, or if you do not have a plan in place, probably midway, you will start compromising on the values you started with your brand. And that probably is something very killing, and many companies have failed because of this concept. They do not plan their financials in advance and they say कि manage हो जाएगा. So this is like we used to speak about KFP. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Will manage. So that kind of an attitude probably will be discussing the challenges we are going to speak in other slide. Now gather market research. Now, like today, if I let's say there is a brand in Connaught Place, Kevin Tears. They are they make shakes. So now, if you know how to make, let's say, milk shake in a very better way, in a good way, in a different this thing, that is selling very good. Let's say in Connaught Place in Delhi, but probably the mango taste does not go well in, let's say, southern market or southern India or the western India or the eastern India. So before going for the franchisee, you need to evaluate your product, what you are offering, and its acceptability in the market, and volume as well. Today, if you ask somebody to invest 30 lakh rupees, and the volume expected out of the 30 lakh rupees investment is not even 5 lakh. So until unless you do the market research, nothing will come out. Now, let's say today we have launched a portal which is more onto the job pre-hiring assessment portal. Now, if we would have seen that there are only 10 companies in India, or probably there are only 10 lakh people who are looking for a job, or only 500 companies who are going to recruit from us, so then the market size was very small. We would not have invested huge amount on making this portal up. But if you look at, this is a $28 billion dollar opportunity worldwide, and crores and crores of people are looking for the job. Lakhs of companies are looking for the right kind of candidates and the kind of companies they are interacting. So they all are looking for it. So market research is very important, that you have to understand that yes, my product is acceptable. There is a volume attached to it, because you are not investing, but you really cannot take your franchise investment for granted. If he has invested 30 lakh rupees by taking it loan from somebody or from the bank, or he has invested his savings, you have to really put in yourself into his shoes and see, will my franchisee model probably should not hamper his lifetime savings. So market research is very, very important. Prepare for change. Today, a person who is sitting on a counter is selling, let's say, milkshakes, or maybe a shoes, or maybe tires, or maybe a bakery shop. Now, there on the store, he's selling the product. He's not serving. I'll say serving less, selling more. The moment you get into franchising, actually you shift from selling to serving. That's the biggest change. From selling the product, you will be serving the franchises, because they are now selling your product from their counters. And if you remain in selling, 99% of franchisee model will collapse over a period of time. Or the franchises will become independent units, stop interacting with you, and people will change their names, and they'll start selling their own. So we have to prepare for this mindset, that we will not be into selling, we'll be into serving the franchisee network and their customers. They'll remain customer to my brand or to your brand. But in toto, they are handled through the franchisee, and my job will be to handle those franchises in a best way. Now, the second point comes legal requirements. We see that McDonald has appointed a license in India, or some Indian companies have set up the operations overseas. So it is not same approach. Like in US, if you talk about, the different districts have different regulations. Registrations are different. Their categories in which you can register is different. Consumer laws are different. Franchise agreements are different. Where somewhere you have to register as a franchisor, somewhere your entire business model have to be verified and approved. So it is quite different. India is a bit relaxed. India, there is no specific franchise related act. But yes, we are covered under right from the Indian Contract Act of 1982 to Copyright Act 2013. But there is no specific law. I'll say, I remember there are 13 contracts which covers the franchisee directly or indirectly. But those are not meant specifically for the franchising in India. So the term is very relaxed, and there is no specific law. But if you talk about US, Europe, or Australia, there are very stringent laws for franchises. Uh, why it is so, I'll discuss probably in another slide.
But this is a very important point which you raised, Mr. Goel. In fact, legal implications in India and in the international markets, there's a wide difference. Very, very important point people should note about it.
It is a reason. It is a reason being. You see, in India, people say that if it is gone to court, probably it will take 4, 5 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and probably will
Yeah.
be able to manage that. But outside, the first
Yes.
thing will happen is that you will be stopped. You will be stopped from doing business. and your operation will come
Yeah,
to hold, neither from the franchisor side nor from the franchisee side. Nobody can cheat each other. Nobody can pass on the frivolous statements. Nobody can probably go out from their commitments what they have made already. So in India, there is a
true,
definitely outside the franchisor is also secured, franchisee is also secured. Both are secured.
true.
Now, uh, like you are mentally prepared, your concept you feel franchisable, you are financially fit, you have done the market research, you are prepared to change, and your legal requirements are taken care. Then comes the business model. Now, when you are going out, it was your shop, it was your office. You used to open it up at 9 o'clock. One day you felt that it should open at 10 o'clock. You started opening at 10 o'clock. Before you thought that I'll be handling the customers. After some days you felt my employee will handle the customers. For cash counting, you were counting your own. Next day you had cash registers. So until you have the control and you are the single owner of the outlet or your business, you can do whatever you want. Any day, every day you can change. But when you're thinking about going into franchising, you have to think the business model with respect to long term in nature. Because every day you cannot change. Change is inevitable, though. Unavoidable change you cannot avoid. But you cannot do changes every day, which you are free to do when you are a single outlet manufacturer or retailer or a brand owner, whatever it is. So you are free. Now, when somebody is joining you, the first part is how much franchisee fees you are going to charge and what royalty percentage you are going to charge from the franchisee. Now, when we say royalty percentage of franchisee fees, I'll say, yeah, I mean, in general, I've seen people charge 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 30 lakh. So I would like to charge, let's say, 10 lakh rupees for my franchisee. And post to that, I'll charge 30% royalty from him. Now, it is not about you. I mean, let me remind here franchisee fees and royalty. It comes to you, but this should not be computed as per your comfort. I mean, first you have to make a business plan for the franchise that if he has invested 30 lakh rupees and his turnover probably maybe, let's say, 50 lakh rupees over a period of time. So, and the percentage of profit, ROI will be, let's say, gross profit will be around, let's say, 30%. So he is making 15 lakh, 15 lakhs from the year's revenue, one, and he has invested 30 lakh rupees, two. So out of 15 lakh, he has to take out money for his investment. He has to make out money for his own family, for his own luxuries, for his own personal needs. Now, out of that 30%, you need to see how much I should charge, which does not hit him below the belt. 90% what happens that we forget to compute the profitability of the franchise. We make him to invest more, we make him to do everything whatever we say, we make him to run the operation like six sigma outlet. But at the end of the day, it is the profitability which matters to anybody in business. Now, today, if you say that I'll charge royalty percentage or the franchisee fees, please sit down on an Excel sheet and see how much he can earn, how much will be his expenditure, what will be his ROI, and how much, probably how many years it will take to recover his investment, and how much time it will it will take to make him to bring that pride for which he has started the franchise. Accordingly, you have to set the royalty percentage and the franchisee fees. Uniqueness in technology. Some people say, yeah, my product is
Very,
the best. I mean, oh, my product is best. My child is best. I'll say, let me do other way around. I have two sons. So if somebody asks me, how's your son? I'll say he's the best son in the world. But when I take him to some place, school or college, or maybe now he's with me in my business, over a period of time, you come to know what is unique about him. You understand the character of his thoughts, how he thinks, how he acts, how he reacts, how he responds, how he behaves, how nothing is happening, how he behaves when some crisis is there, how he behaves when he's talking to an senior employee, how he behaves when he's talking to a junior employee, how he's behaving with the customers. You see, there are n number of things which probably you need to look at every time. And out of that, you can see that yes, he's good in sales, he's good into operations, he's good into management, he's good into finance, he's good into blah blah things. But when you're selling a product, you have to have some uniqueness. Let's say the Caventer example I have given, the Caventer, the taste was its uniqueness. One, the way they used to prepare, that was their uniqueness, and the they kind of bottle they used, that was uniqueness. And people, if who have been used to going to Caventers, they must be knowing the milk. Actually, it was the milk they used for making that milkshake was the key. They never compromise on the quality of milk, and they always use gold standard milk, which in any good outlet, coffee outlet we take. So their taste is always different. It is just because of that the quality of milk is altogether different. The kind of milk we get it at home is different, and the milk they use is different. So you need to create uniqueness. Until you have uniqueness, USP, or some recipe, some operation methodology, some use of technology, or the technology you have developed, it has to be there. If you are just copy paste from somebody else, probably you are not franchisable. You are a franchisee itself without paying any franchisee fees and the royalty. You have copied a model.
Right.
You are copying whatever the brand is doing. So you yourself is a franchisee. You are not franchisable. The next
One
is the
point I
term of
want to
your
add over here,
yeah.
yeah, was that which you mentioned uniqueness in technology. It's is This is very very important because the franchisee who is going to invest in your brand or your product
Hmm.
will always be trying to understand for which he is investing or making the payments for, and what is a standardized process of delivering your services and product across the territory. How will you standardize it? How can it be unique? And how can there be a standard control on delivering that mechanism, which is very, very
That
important.
that
Thank
is
you so
what
much
make
for touching on it, please.
You see, ultimately, when it comes to the offering part, that is another aspect. Probably we'll talk in the next line. After this, it comes to the term of your franchise agreement. What kind of offering you are doing? But let me remind again: anything you are doing is basically for the franchise. If we do not keep him in mind, chances of failure is quite high. And if you design everything keeping him into main focus, if he remains your key focus area, believe me, you'll be successful. Chances of your success is quite high because he's not your slave, he's not your friend, he's not your employee, he's not your partner. He's a standalone individual who is getting associated with you for profits. He is interested in taking up something to do business. So you need to understand that he is an individual and he has to be satisfied. So anything you put in into your franchisee agreement which makes him feel low or which makes him feel that I'm nothing, so then it's one side arrangement will not last for long. Then you need to decide on size, territory, geographic areas. Like McDonald, northern franchisee had states defined that he can operate within those states only. And the local franchise, probably a McDonald outlet in Connaught Place, cannot advertise in Rosary Garden. So you have territories defined, you have the size defined. And sometimes it happens that they, in some of the product categories, even the sales is also defined that you cannot sell more than this. Or sometimes the clients are also defined where the clients are fixed. So they limit the franchise that you'll be supplying only to these customers. So this is up to you, what kind of business you are getting into. The biggest point is training programs. You know your business, but your franchisee is new. He's a totally new person. He doesn't know how to operate. He doesn't know your brand. He knows your brand, but he doesn't know how you operate, what is your uniqueness, how you have survived for long, and how he can replicate the success. Now, when I say training programs means replicating the success at the franchise outlet. Training does not mean anything else. In our the franchise agreement, if you talk about, everything is related to like replicating. It's like if I should take it like a circus. When the person comes and every lion has to behave and perform in the same style. So it's more like that you have to train them in such a way that they become a replica of yours. They become replica of your brand. They represent your brand the way you have represented your brand. Buy products or equipment from your company or from the open market. You need to have a clear cut understanding, clear cut announcement. Everything has to be made crystal clear. Then comes how you will market the franchise. You took the franchisee fees, you are charging royalty, the person has invested the money, you trained him, geographies are defined, but he is a person, let's say, who has done BE, BTech, or he's a first generation businessman. So the marketing also has to have a place in your thought process where you must understand the initial success is your responsibility. You have to make him successful. You have to make him visible. You have to really work from him. Post to that. Now, whatever you are doing, he may charge from him, or you have a business model where you are investing on him. That's a separate issue. I'm not getting into that. But the part is that you have to ensure that he becomes successful in the very first, second, third, or first 6 months. His operations are profitable. Now, next to that is owner, operator, or area master franchisee. You say that in India, I'll be dividing India into 5 zones, and every zone will have a master franchisee. He will appoint further the local units. Now you are taking bigger risk. The one master franchisee is not again your part of your team. He is a standalone individual. He is an individual profit interest body. So you need to look out many things that you will appoint every unit yourself, or you will hire somebody, or you will have arrangement with somebody who will do further appointments. And if he is doing further appointments, what control you want to keep on him, and how you will check the quality, the location, investment, the person, blah blah. I mean, there lot of things are there. Paperwork is the most, because the moment somebody joins, you cannot tell him that boss, today my printer is not working. I'll get you the papers tomorrow, or I'm still waiting for the draft from my CA. You'll get it tomorrow. So every paperwork, whatever is required, has to be in place. In some countries, you have to register as a franchisor. In India, it is not required. You have to be a company, private limited, or whatever company structure you are following. Then make key hires. Your cashier or your salesman at the brand outlet or the company's outlet, he's good into what he's doing now, but he may not be good in handling the franchisee. So handling franchisee's team, training him, supporting him, taking care of his customer is altogether a different aspect, which your person who is the best may not be able to do it. So today I'm good in talking, maybe in front of the camera, but tomorrow probably in front of 1,000 people I may not speak. So I'm good in one thing, I may not be good in other things. So keeping that into mind, you need to have key hires who will be taking care of this entire franchise operation. Don't just have a pride of that I'm the brand owner, I'll do everything and I'll take care of everything. No, you cannot. You have to have key people in place to make your operation successful. Then everything is ready. Then you have to start selling franchises. For that, you need team. And the best part or the biggest part, the key part is supporting the franchises. That's what you have to play and plan in advance. How you are going to support your franchisee network. Trainings, marketing, experience, legal issues, customer and franchise grievances. This is the biggest, like people do not focus on legal issues and customer and franchise grievance. They are being taken for granted in India. But if you do not create a uniform experience, if you do not have legal issues taken care well, if you do not handle customer and franchise grievance, you are actually heading for the burial of your operation. You are digging the grave your own, nobody else. So these, like you have to have plan these things planned in advance before you start inviting franchisee calls. Challenges with my 25 years into place, I'll have put mistrust on the top. I would have kept it here and there, but because I was into it and interacting with hundreds of franchises across. So mistrust is the biggest challenge one franchisor can face. There is another competitor in your town. He has come up with a different scheme. He has offered something else. He has changed the product. Very next day, the franchisor who was happy with you, he'll come and say, "Sir, you are not doing anything. The next brand is doing so many things." The moment something happens in the market, he is going to come up with the question mark. And why that question mark comes in? Because you have not created trust in that franchisee, or you tried, but he did not trusted you well. So mistrust is the biggest challenge which you need to address. And for that, I must say, there has to be a one person who is only appointed for the purpose of well-being of the franchisee. He should not talk sales. He should not talk about royalties. He should not talk about payment. He should talk only about well-being of the franchisee. I must call him like a communication manager who takes care of the communication and whatever is building up, it should be taken care well before time. Anxiety from commercial, personal, and social pressure leads to sustained stress. This leads to poor decision making, low productivity, and unhappiness. I started advertising, let's say, the month of April for hunting out the franchises across India. And for next 3 months or 6 months, I did not get a single client finalized. Nobody paid me franchisee fees. So after 6 months, the franchisee fees, which were 5 lakh, probably I'll say, yeah, you offer 50%. Or size requirement was 1,500 square feet, you make it 750 square feet. So you take poor decisions then. So handling anxiety, sticking to your plans, sticking to your market research, sticking to your knowledge, wisdom is the key. Margin compression, as you are growing, probably the returns may not be to the mark, because how market is going to behave, whatever market research you do, but market may respond very fanatically when you never know how they are going to accept the product, how they are not. Probably in the same city, in one part of the city, it may go very well, and then the other part of the city, people will not visit your store at all. So your investment as fixed. You are going on with your marketing agenda, your payment of salaries, your rentals, your everything is going on. So probably in the beginning, first year or 2 years or 3 years of operation, margin compression will happen. And when such phenomena kind like COVID kind of phenomena or some other uh, external factor comes in picture, so you are basically out. I mean, everything is out of your control. So you come under pressure. And probably how do you manage your pressure? That's the key. Growth versus existing network. I have appointed 10 centers or 10 outlets. Those are not doing well, or five are doing well, five are not doing well. Today we are connected digitally. If somebody types my name, probably my past and present will appear on Google. So I cannot hide what I was and what I am. Same way, when you have 10 existing centers or existing outlets, their feedbacks, their probably well-being, everything will be available digitally. Facebook, probably they may find him on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, or on Google. And let's say those five people are not happy, then what will happen? The 11th person who is trying to come and take your franchisee will always not look at the positive ones, but he will look at the negative ones. So growth, initial sign up is easy. When you have some outlets, the growth becomes difficult, because if you have not managed your existing network well, you will be gone. You will not be able to manage the new queries well. Resistance to change. You cannot ask your franchise partner to keep on reinvesting again and again. So that's why in the beginning I said, whatever you do with the planning of at least 4 or 5 years in mind, that you should not be looking for a change every 3 months, 6 months. But if you are in a dynamic, like a digital age kind of a maybe product, you have the choice. Diversity, managing experience versus newer ones. Now today, let's say if I'm talking to Sandeep, I'm talking to Sanjeev, or I'm talking to Sanjay, Uh, I cannot speak the same lines until unless I'm on a common platform. My communication will change. The biggest hurdle I've seen in managing the franchisees is that the experienced ones are treated at par with the newer ones. Their exposure, their experience, their personal experience with you is there. So you need to have a separate team to manage your experienced ones, a separate team for managing the newer ones. It is my personal experience I'm sharing with you. Uh, I also,
Mr. Goel, I wanted to add is a very important point. Managing experienced versus new ones, which you have pointed out. In fact, when you are managing franchises, you're not exactly managing your employees. You
yeah,
are managing exactly entrepreneurs at different levels who are there, who is also an investor. So it needs a completely different kind of profile you can manage. And Mr. Goel has explained very clearly that you need to focus on this area very, very importantly because you're managing entrepreneurs.
and this is my personal experience. When we had this, like in 25 years, some of the centers were, let's say, 10 years old, 15 years old. Their
Very
queries were different. Their queries were like they were owning the brand. Their behavior used to be that I have also invested my life in your brand. So they never treated themselves like a franchise. They started behaving like with you as a friend. They start behaving like as a partner in the company. So your interaction with them has to be altogether different. Now it's like leading the leaders. In Rotary, we say the Rotary president is not actually leading the employees, he's leading the leaders. So when you're talking to leaders and when you're talking to people, you have to, like, you are a human being ultimately as a franchisor. So if you have committed mistakes, say sorry, move forward. If they have committed a mistake, tell them. Don't go far. Go too far, and give them the adequate respect. You expect respect from the franchisees as well, and franchisees same way vis-a-vis they expect respect from you. You really, as you rightly said, they are not your employees. Now the next part comes is culture, confidence of the franchisees and franchisor team. One morning, fine day, you wake up and say, "Boss, yaar, the blue color of the T-shirt which we have shared is not suiting well. I'm feeling that it should be red." And you see the inventory which goes down to your 500 centers, they are painting their walls from blue to red. Their logos are changed, brochure is changed, banners is changed, the hoarding they have put up in the local area is changed. The team which was selling, now they have got into the different operation. So when you have a large network, the culture, confidence, and of the franchises and team has to be seen in a different perspective. Then whatever you think them to have, because they are the people who are going to manage it. You become a serving agent for them. So whatever culture, confidence you have to define, and you really have to work as a franchisor. I must say that once it's like a missile. Once you launch your franchisee operation, it is shot. So somebody, some external factories on probably will make it a blast or what, I do not know, but it's like a missile. So once it is shot, then be on to setting up, taking care of the brand, perspective, perception, culture, confidence of the people. It can break in just a matter of time. A person outlet, you were supposed to serve a glass of water to every person visiting the outlet, and one franchisee says that we don't want to serve, or you offer them some product free of cost, and franchisee has to buy that product. Like when you go and buy the car dealers, they give what is offered, but in addition to that also they offer something extra. So that is fine, but ultimately the what you are asking them to offer, they must wear the same uniform, they must greet the customer in the same way, and they should have the confidence on you. Actually they have bought your product and your confidence, nothing else. And the day they lose confidence in you, you are gone. So before I wind up my session, probably I'll just add stop, start, and continue. So this is what you must do while making your product franchisable. The Start, Stop, Continue brainstorm session is a way for our group to reflect on our past actions, decide what need to be changed as our group move forward. When I say our group, mean the franchise, the team, the business owner and its team. We will definitely identify actions or process that are not working for us, new tasks we can do to improve how we work, start, and action that works really well for us and should stay. Now, this probably exercise has to happen in the beginning as well as maybe a continual review after 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, depending upon the nature of your product. It has to happen that what has worked, what has not, and what new things we have to bring in the picture. And finally, I come back to the state of mind. The mind is just like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets and the more it can expand. So if you are not ready, don't jump into it. If you are not financially planned, don't jump into it. Franchising is a game where you are going to end up only answering the queries if you are not well prepared. So because you are dealing then probably with the owners. So thank you very much. Have a great day. And back to Sandeep now.
Thanks, Mr. Goel. It was quite enriching, and you did cover from top to bottom, I would say, all the aspects which are very, very critical to franchising. And while we are discussing before the closure, if there is any queries, people can put it on the chat, please, or you can unmute and raise your queries. You can discuss it with us straight away. Because uh, as we open up, as the economy opens up, we are again repeating, it is a good opportunity for brands, for products. Any kind of product can be franchised. And in fact, globally, US companies are the masters of franchising. And
So, Sandeep, we have Sanjay Jain with us today.
yes,
We have spoken, and he's into manufacturing. So he had some queries that how he can franchise, or probably some queries were there with him. So
sure.
can we take him?
It will be good to
So,
have.
Sanjay, welcome on this forum, and probably you can start with it by now. Probably you have gone through the franchise understanding. Let me introduce him that he's a manufacturer of carpets and probably what you call dories and a special kind of a fabric. And he has more than 1,500 outlets across India. He's using platforms like Amazon or Flipkart as well. Multiple factories across. So, yeah, Sanjay.
Thank you, Ravindraji.
Yeah, welcome, please.
Sandeep ji, myself, Sanjay Jain, and we are in business of technical textiles. Like
Right.
we buy chips from Reliance Indian Oil, and we make yarn, uh, high quality PCF yarn, textiles yarn, and then we are making carpets, dharis, and rugs, etc. For Indian and abroad market. But still we are in Indian market only. फ्रेंचाइजी जो अभी डिस्कशन में था, फ्रेंचाइजी हमारे पास चैनल पार्टनर में तो हम लोग अभी रिटेल बिजनेस में इनके साथ अमेजन, फ्लिपकार्ट, लाइफस्टाइल इन सबसे कनेक्टेड ही हैं, बट एक्सपोर्ट सिस्टम में हम लोग फ्रेंचाइजी में नहीं है. तो हम लोग को क्या सिस्टम पे जाना चाहिए? ऑल्दो आई डिस्कस सो मेनी टाइम्स विद मिस्टर रविंद्र, can you please suggest me something?
Thanks for
Hello?
sharing. And this is a very important question which you have raised. As I was saying, because this is a very, very important question which you have raised, and there are very, very many successful franchises operating in the area which you have mentioned. In terms of fabrics, in terms of fabric related operations, not only within our country and internationally, it depends on how we create the channel structure. You already have a channel, that is what Mr. Goyal introduced about. So when we are talking about a franchisee, the operations are, I would say, slightly completely different, which brings in a lot of ownership, with the brand, a lot of systems and processes, and it could be very successfully implemented because Amazon and others are more to do with the logistics, if I'm right. But when I'm talking about franchising and expanding into the market, there are wonderful models which are there. And there can be three, four different models which can be created depending on the vision and long-term plans of your organization. It could be customized, it can be worked out around that. And all this, Mr. Goyal, as I mentioned, not only brings you to the forefront, but you can expand without direct investment coming out from your company's resources, which are there. That
I think I would like
yes, please.
probably I would like to add Sandeep here.
Huh.
Uh, Technically, let's say as I shared that right from the Amul to the Seat Sophie or to the Polo tires, when everything is franchise like Arvind or this Raymond. Now, part is Sanjay, you need to look at one thing that let's say if you feel how it can be franchise. Franchise mean you are creating a unique experience for the customer for your products across. Now, when you say so, that means that you need to look at visualize first. What you have to visualize is that there is a shop in CP who is a franchisee of mine, and he has, let's say, you have to become a storyteller. I know, I mean, the franchisers have to be good storyteller and good visualizers. They need to really visualize in advance.
Very
So
important.
you walk into your franchisee store, which is probably virtually you are creating, and you say the Sapros is the board is outside, and when I enter, I see let's say my old products there. Now that's what you can visualize what kind of experience you want to create. Now the biggest thing what I would like to say I have taken from Sandeep is that do you have enough products to make that an independent store which makes him qualify that yes, using your products, he probably can do the justice to his business and the investments. Like I know a couple of products what you are making. Let's say if you want to create a separate store, would you like to add another 20, 30 products so that a franchisee has enough products to display and to sell? He can attend to different kind of customers. Sanjay, your voice is muted. I think Sandeep, this is what also has to be
Yes,
thought
yes.
of.
Very, very, very important. And what you pointed out.
Our
And then,
bucket should be large. We need to add on some more products in our brand.
right. And plus, Mr. Sanjay, like if I want to become a franchise yogi, the question is, what is the know-how or what is the market information? What is the market support I'm going to get? As Mr. Goyal already mentioned in his presentation. So you have to envision the future, how your stores, how your operation will be all across. And the story has to be woven and built all along it, which is very, very important. Right, Mr. Goyal?
Yeah, that's how. Probably you need to create a bouquet of the products. Like yesterday we were talking, so I
Yes.
was wondering that what should I answer him yesterday,
No,
but
see, actually,
like
actually, if you look into it, there are a lot of models. In these models, if I just have to mention it under fabrics, there are standard retail models which are functional. Like you have three, four different types of franchises which are there. One kind that can be purely product franchising, doesn't do anything, just talks about the range of products which the company decides to sell into a market, which is there. It can be a franchisee who can invest, who is a manufacturing franchisee, can also co-produce with the knowledge and information and know-how transferred by the principal company at that local location according to the local market. So there is a know-how transfer, there is a brand transfer, and there is a customer service transfer which also happens. And that can be, as you mentioned about CP, if I want it, I can look at a business format franchising where the entire showroom is designed, unique, created, merchandising, display, operations are all standardized. So if there's an opportunity into large cities, there can be these kind of business format franchises, which is a heavy investment, but is also a strong brand promotion from where the premium products under a standardized way of selling. So all shop, all outlet looks great. Now these are formats which can be extended into international markets also. Today, if I'm looking into it, in South Asia itself, just to share with you, the economies which are coming up, it is not only Europe and US. There are a lot of next generation economies which is coming up very fast all across in South Asia, other places. There people have money. They are looking for brands. They're looking for know-how. They're looking for retails because their markets, as they're growing, customers over there want to buy and experience a different lifestyle. So there is phenomenal opportunity, and that is where business format franchising can work wonders. And in local and small markets, pure retail franchising structures can work out. So there can be two, three different models designed and curated to service a region or a geography, catering to different kinds of customers, which is there.
Thank you,
Right?
Sunil.
And as we discuss, we can have a detailed discussion onto this and take it forward. This is all possible. And if you look into it, as the market opens up, we are getting queries and we are very, very strongly recommending franchising as a route because people will invest now selectively. Even employees who are at a senior level, I'm just sharing with you, who are losing out their regular jobs but have substantial investments, are looking for sensible franchise operations where they would invest 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs in a brand and knows that they can start operations. So people are trying out many useful things on which various companies are capitalizing. Mr. Goyal, if you want to add on, please.
You see, ultimately, one thing we need to understand, whatever, as long as we are into selling and buying, you need to have customers, you need to have a buyer for your product. Buyer has to have value in what you are offering. They must see what is there, what is in it for them. And I'll probably now, because I was not finding the line, Sanjay, for you. We call him Sanjay Bhai. So,
Right.
Sanjay Bhai, I was not having a line for you, but today, meanwhile, thinking over your issue, I could add that yes, what you are missing when we discuss, what I was missing basically is that for your outlet, for your store, the planning and the visioning or virtualization or visualization is missing. So probably now I can be more helpful to you because I have some answer for you now. Probably we'll take it in our different discussions. But yes, now it is possible. Now it is possible.
It is possible.
Yesterday I was wondering, but today I'm not wondering. I'm now probably I'll be able to share concrete things with you.
Oh, thank you.
They are wonderful formats. You don't have to worry about it.
If we do not have, we'll create one. Don't worry.
Always.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Great, great. It was great talking to you. I think
Thank you, Sandeep.
we don't have any more queries. I think we can wind up. Mr. Goyal, any comments, any suggestions?
No, I must probably would like to thank Sanjay for joining us, and Subhashji, he's my peer president for 2021-22, and Tulsi Ramji, he's a learned person from Maharashtra, Mumbai.
Mhm.
So I'm thankful to other people, Sanjeev as well. And I hope that we'll be able to, because what we have done, it says that हिंदी में कहावत है, दूध का जला छाछ भी फूक के पीता है. So आपकी yours and mine situation is like that. We have burned our fingers in last 25 years, and we can probably visualize in advance that this person who is sitting in front of us, what he's looking at, and probably how he will fail and what will make him successful. So we probably will not say that we have adequate knowledge or complete knowledge of everything, but yes, we have experienced a very vast network of people, different type of people, rich one, the fresher ones, first-time business owners, people who have probably putting in investment for his son, lifetime saving they're putting in. So different class of people we have seen, and their reactions, their feelings, their emotions, their behaviors, their anxiety, stress, everything we have gone through. So I don't see any reason that we will not be able to work out something for anyone. But yes, we are not the driver. The driving is with the brand owner. He has to be on the front seat. Probably we can just work like a Google map that yes, now from here you take a left and then you take a right. And 90% of the people they say, oh, मैं तो पहले right से गया था, so I'll go in right. And they stack up and they say, Google, oh, you did not do well.
Right.
So that happens. That happens. It's a part of life. But I must thank you everyone. Sandeep.
Thank you, Sandeep ji.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ravindra ji.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining in.
Thank you.
We will be seeing you next week, same time. Bye-bye. Have a nice week.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye
Bye.
bye. Thank you. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, as
Bye-bye.
I wrote, I shall be talking to you later on. I have some people who can learn from you and you can be mutually helpful to each other. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Definitely,
Sure.
Subhash. Definitely look forward to talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.